Hello? Anybody out there? Oh, hey, it's Keith Bergman here, and I'm hiding in the war room. I have to keep my voice down. Apparently, last week when we featured the game Zombie Mambo from 1983 and loaded it in from cassette tape, we sort of accidentally invoked some kind of worldwide zombie curse, and now it's the end of days. And for that, all I can say is, my bad. I just say, what are you gonna do? It's a little apocalypse thing here. So the least I can do is try to help pass along some survival tips in this new nightmarish dystopia that we find ourselves in. And the sun's about to go down, so I have to make this quick, because as I'm sure you and your surviving relatives have discovered, they come at night.
So while most of our focus here in the War Room is on archiving and resurrecting games from the past, it would be a disservice not to highlight some of the amazing work being done on our beloved retro platforms in the present day. I think you can tell a homebrew game written by a modern coder right away. There's another 40 years of design, aesthetic, and gameplay knowledge to draw from. And some of the tools in our arsenal these days, like the ability to compile basic code for faster and smoother execution, were science fiction back in the old days. Brian Gray has been delivering new titles for the past couple years on the TI-99 4A. His other projects include the platform's very own version of Wordle, good-looking homebrew versions of Tetris and a souped-up Pac-Man Plus, and a much-needed modern-day conversion of Imagic's Atlantis, all written in the extended basic language and compiled. But I would argue that his masterpiece, so far anyway, is 2023's They Come at Night. The end times have finally come, and you've been tasked with fortifying and defending a wide-open compound against the hordes of goblins, demoks, ghosts, and of course, zombies. Luckily for you, there's a whole Costco of survivalist gear on the right side of your screen, but you gotta shop while the sun shines because, well, are you gonna make me say it? They come at night. This is a game of resource management and arcade thrills, which you don't always get a mix of strategy and planning with the frantic Twitch gaming on an arcade shooter, but here you get both elements, with the anxiety-inducing rising and setting of the sun in the lower right-hand corner to keep you from ever truly catching your breath. During the day, you fortify your position. Digging holes is free, but takes time. Notice how quickly the sun moves on the bottom right status bar when you dig. Other barriers and traps cost credits, which you earn by shooting monsters, and each works against some type of monsters, but not others. Once the sun goes down, there's the briefest of pauses, the skies darken, and suddenly it's just you and your trusty Winchester rifle on foot in the middle of whatever fortification you manage to put together, and it's an adrenaline-filled fight for your life. You've got ammo, and you can earn more by sending the bad guys back to hell. But will it be enough? Can we just talk about this game's interface? I love a good interface, and it's something a lot of classic games frankly lack. 40 years of more sophisticated controllers have led us to expect more action than 4 directions and firing can give us, but it takes an intuitive coder to design a system with multiple functions that runs smoothly. Here, you hold down the fire button during the day to switch between items on the right and on the playfield, and you release to select. There's a little bit of a jog sometimes as well in changing direction while you're playing at night, or a tendency to walk forward and then turn. Like any game, the flow of the character's movement takes a little bit of getting used to. You're gonna die pretty quickly a bunch of times while you get it all sorted out, especially the switch from day to night mode. And as somebody who still sucks really bad at this game and has barely begun to figure out the various weapons, I say, you gotta just jump in and do it. You're gonna lose 1,000 times, but eventually you'll start to get the hang of it. Did you notice the zombies hitting the headstone of my previous lost life and disintegrating? And did you see how the holes fill in when a monster falls into them, and the concertina wire I placed degrades after it stops one monster? These are the little details you'll gradually start to pick up as you get past the point of dying 2 seconds into every night mode. Now notice the little diamond in the lower left quadrant of the compound. That's a remote drop of supplies. In this case, it's 2,000 credits, and I can tell you that because it's listed in the documentation, not because I've ever once successfully left the middle of the screen in the middle of a monster attack to pick one up. There's also fences and walls and shrubs, directional claymores, 2 types of grenade, and a steadily diminishing resupply of ammo as your ordeal stretches from days to weeks. Brian has a video up on his channel outlining some survival strategies as he gets through 22 days of the game, which right now, to me, feels like it could only be possible through the use of voodoo witchcraft, anabolic steroids, or cheat codes. But the reward of They Come at Night is that, as intense and challenging as it is right out of the gate, it's got a lot of staying power. Some retro games you play once just to say you did, but this one's gonna piss you off and bring you back, gunning for revenge. And before we go, take a look at the attention to detail here. The animation of the monsters, the little steps when your character walks, 3 or 4 cells of animation when you waste a baddie. This game looks and sounds as good as it plays. It's full of 8-bit charm and excitement. This is what I mean by a retro game with some modern styling. We are getting a banquet of awesome new titles for the TI-99 4A 41 years after it rose from the grave of the 80s video game industry crash. And we owe a lot of gratitude to Brian Gray for keeping them coming at night.
Night.